There's really only so much you can learn about a boot that's never been worn. So this year for Moctober, we're cutting apart last year's Moctober boots with the Red Wings Thursdays whites, Carhartts, and Thorogoods today to see if they're still worth it after about 1,000 miles worth of wear, and we're gonna leave their fate up to the wheel of death. We've got a ton of content coming out this month for Moctober. It's by far the most anticipated series that we do. It's my favorite series because it's so much fun. And next week, we have the most expensive video mini-series that I've ever made. We took an old Harley and turned it into a chopper over the last few months, and we're finally releasing that video. It's gonna be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I really think it's the coolest chopper that's ever been built on YouTube, but I need your guys' support to watch it because it's not cutting boots in half, but it is a sick chopper, so be sure to watch that one. I'd really appreciate it. Now let's go over the boot information. So the brand is Thorogood, the style is the American Heritage Moc. The leather is the tobacco leather, the price is $205. They weigh 1 pound, 7 ounces, and they're made in the United States. So now let's go over the information that we can gather about this well-worn boot before cutting it in half, starting with the upper and the leather. So this is their tumbled leather that's really soft and supple. It's super easy to break in. I had concerns about the longevity of it because the tumbled leather usually is a little bit weaker. It tends to split sooner, but this one is in really good condition and it's really well worn. It surprised me that there's no splits and there's no holes in this leather anywhere. And that's partially due to the owner of these boots really kept them well oiled, because oil is important for leather because there's tons of little teeny fibers in the cross section of leather and they flex anytime you move the boot. And if those fibers aren't well lubricated with oil or conditioner, a lot of times they'll just crack and break and you get big splits in your leather. So that's why you want to oil your work boots. Then onto the construction. So as expected, the synthetic welt did break in multiple spots and split. And it's really not interfering with the wearability of these boots because it's not like they're coming undone, it's just splits, but it does affect the resole ability of these boots because to get these resoled, the cobbler's gonna have to put on a brand new welt and resole everything. And at that point, the price to have that done is probably gonna be $100 to $150 and a $200 boot. Most people would rather just buy a brand new boot. Then to the outsole. So the outsole is actually in really good condition for how much these have been worn. And a part of that is because this is the Thorogoods Max Wear Wedge that's a polyurethane based outsole rather than the rubber based outsole you see in the Vibram wedges. And it's really hard to draw concrete conclusions from one person's worn out boots. You know, another person's boots could look completely different, but at least we can draw some general conclusions because I'm pretty comfortable in saying this outsole is in decent condition for how much it's been worn. And finally, to the general condition of these boots, there's still a lot of life left in these boots that you could wear these for quite a bit longer. Obviously, there's some stitching that's undone, but it's none of the vital stitching that holds the boot together. But that's only the outside, and as you've probably seen on this channel, the insides matter way more than the outsides. So to really judge it, we gotta cut these in half. This video is sponsored by Shaker and Spoon, and since I don't really know what I'm doing with mixed drinks, I brought in my friend Hannah to show me how it's done, and we're gonna make the abstract distraction. Shaker and Spoon is the monthly cocktail subscription box that delivers the craft cocktail experience right to your front door. Each monthly box arrives with 3 original recipes created by world-class bartenders that you can't get anywhere else, as well as enough ingredients like syrups, bitters, aromatics, garnishes, and more for 12 cocktails, 4 for each recipe. And each box is themed around one type of liquor that will fit each of those recipes for that month. And even better, in order to make all 12 of those cocktails, you need exactly 1 bottle of liquor, so there's no waste at all. And with Shaker and Spoon, you no longer have to seek out those hard to find cocktail ingredients and buy those giant bottles that just sit in your cupboard for 2 years and then go bad. It's a really convenient way to make cocktails and introduce yourself to new spirits and flavor combinations that you might not have ever discovered otherwise. It really boils down to complex drinks made simple with easy to follow instruction, and they have supplemental how-to videos if you really get confused. So click the link below and use the code RoseAnvil at checkout, or go to shakerandspoon.com/RoseAnvil for $20 off your first box. Okay, give it a try.
Yep.
Verdict?
Very good. I would probably buy this at an actual bar and pay $20 for it.
And that was surprisingly easy.
Yeah.
So
3 steps.
Thanks again to Shaker and Spoon for sponsoring this video. Super easy. Check them out via the link in my description. And thanks to Shaker and Spoon. Now it's time for my favorite part of the video. We're going to decide what cutting apparatus we're going to cut these boots with the Wheel of Death. And each week we're going to add a new section to the Wheel of Death that you guys choose. So be sure to comment below what cutting apparatus you want me to add to the Wheel of Death, and the most liked comment, we'll add it to the next week. Right now we've got my little knife, the guillotine, the Michael Myers knife, and the bandsaw. So let's give it a spin. right. The guillotine did its job. Took a lot more hits than I thought. I think it just bounced a lot off of this outsole rather than actually cutting it, but let's see what's inside. Now that we got this cut in half, it's surprising how good a condition this is in. Like the outsole obviously has a lot of life left in it. The cork filling is still evenly distributed. There's no huge lumps or anything. The shank is still in good condition. It's not broken or fractured in any way. The fiberboard's still in good condition. The pour-on layer has shifted or shrunk or something a little bit. You can see right here, it's maybe a 1/4 inch worth of movement. Really the only thing that's worn out is the lining in the vamp. And we kind of called that out in the first video because it was a little bit stretched and splitting already before they were even worn. So really the only two things that have worn out or I would like to improve in this boot are the cotton drill lining in the vamp and that synthetic welt that's split. Other than that, this boot is still in really good condition. So are they still worth it after 1,000 miles worth of wear? I would say yes. I'm actually really impressed with Thorogoods from this video. And obviously it's one person's worn out boot and you could have a completely different experience, but this boot in particular, I'm really impressed with it. And the thing that really surprises me is we just barely cut apart that pile of garbage Harley Davidson boot that was $50 less than this boot. And it was a completely different boot. There's no way that Harley boot would wear quite as well as this. You just spend $50 more and you get a boot that's gonna last you a significantly longer time and you know it's gonna be reliable and you can depend on it. You know, and that's what I really like about doing these 1,000-mile cut in halves is you really can identify what you're spending your money on and what's worth the money. I love doing these videos. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't seen the brand new Thorogoods cut in half, there's a lot more information I covered in that video, and I'll put a link in the description, in the cards, and at the end screen. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and let me know what else you want me to add to the rest of the 1,000-mile reviews for this Moctober. Thank you guys, see ya.